Sanctus, Sanctus.
On the 18th of August 2017, the Argus Co-UK ran a story about Sussex police called "Officers Refuse to Look at CCTV of Bike Theft." It quickly gathered well over 100 comments from members of the public, as it raises important points about policing in this country. I'll quote the first 4 paragraphs verbatim. Police refuse to do anything to help a victim of theft, despite having CCTV footage of the crime taking place. Solicitor David Bailey had his £1,000 mountain bike stolen by thieves, who first removed the saddle so he could not ride it home, then returned at night to cut through the bike's heavy-duty lock and chain. Despite the crime taking place in full view of police-controlled CCTV cameras in Old Stein, Mr. Bailey claims police have refused to review the tape. The force said using staff time to watch the tape covering the 7 p.m. to 8 a.m. window during which the crime took place was not proportionate to the nature of the offence. The police refused to let Mr. Bailey examine the footage for himself. The first comment from a member of the public drew attention to the importance of this story. Pebble Counter said, "Not acceptable that the police get to choose which crimes they investigate. Where would that end?" Seaside resident agreed. I'll read his or her first 3 sentences. "This is actually quite worrying. Are we going to be rewriting the law as it suits? Who will be deciding whether it is a time-worthy crime or not? I thought the law was the law." I can remember Chief Constable York using the word proportionate. Jane Good was one of the Argus readers who commented on the time factor. Are the police really that stupid that they think someone has to sit there for literally 12 hours and watch a recording? Why wouldn't they just check it at various timestamps and see if the bike is still there? Once it's gone, they narrow down the timestamps. It would take 15 minutes. No wonder there is a need for police cuts. If this is the moronic, inefficient way they approach solving crime, good grief! So, who is responsible for deciding whether the police should act in a particular way? I've just read in the Argus Co-UK, the Sussex Police Non-Emergency Contact Centre abandoned 187 calls a day on average last year, the Argus can reveal. Figures obtained under Freedom of Information legislation show that the contact centre missed a total of 68,404 calls between January and December. The story ends, "Mrs. Bourne will be publicly questioning the Chief Constable on 101 handling and other issues at the Performance and Accountability meeting on September the 15th. Yet I think I have heard Mrs. Bourne say that operational policing is not her concern or responsibility, and the West Sussex County Council's website, in explaining how members of the public can put written questions to the Commissioner or her panel, says, "Questions should relate to the role and responsibilities of the Commissioner, and accordingly be strategic in nature. Operational issues are the responsibility of the Chief Constable." Strategy would include planning for the police force to have an effective telephone system and telephone operators, and arrangements for dealing with theft. How long a 101 caller might have to wait for an answer, or whether a theft should be investigated, are operational matters. Strategy is theory. Operations involve practical work. But how can the Commissioner have the power to sack the Chief Constable if operational matters are not her responsibility? And why does she perennially spend so long in reading out statistics about how long it takes the police to answer the 101 telephones, when the answer may be to tell them that they are in a queue? I searched the Police Reform and Social Responsibility Act 2011's table of contents in vain for the word operation or operational, and I didn't think searching through its 158 sections and 17 schedules worthwhile. Chapter 1, Section 1, Paragraph 6 says, the Police and Crime Commissioner for a police area must secure the maintenance of the police force for that area and secure that the police force is efficient and effective. And Section 7 says, the Police and Crime Commissioner for a police area must hold the relevant Chief Constable to account for the exercise of the functions of the Chief Constable, including presumably police operations, and the functions of persons under the direction and control of the Chief Constable. Chapter 1, Section 2, Paragraph 3 says, a police force and the civilian staff of a police force are under the direction and control of the Chief Constable of the force. I'm not searching that Act and others for powers granted to the Secretary of State in these matters, as I shall be giving an example of such power being used in the recent past, and hope that relevant law has not changed. Anything that I did read in the Act didn't dispel my doubt whether the County Council are justified in claiming that operational issues are the responsibility of the Chief Constable exclusively, but 5 minutes research on the internet caused me to wonder whether they might do so with the connivance of the government. I had thought I would never again bother to read anything written by the present head of Her Majesty's Inspectorate of Constabulary. On the 27th of November 2014, I recorded on the HMIC page of my website, a local newspaper drew my attention to HMIC's latest annual assessment of the state of policing. So I accessed their website page called Policing the Crimes of Today with the Methods of Yesterday, but gave up after reading a single sentence from the Chief Inspector of Constabulary. This is what I read. Police officers are a dedicated and brave group of men and women with an unfailing commitment to public service. I am not prepared to waste my time on any assessment overseen by a person capable of such uninformed drivel. However, searching on the internet for police operational matters took me immediately to Her Majesty's Inspectorate of Constabulary and Fire and Rescue Services and the John Harris Memorial Lecture 2013 by Thomas P. Windsor, its chief. In that lecture, Windsor said, the operational integrity and independence of chief constables is sacrosanct, and in law it has not been, and indeed it must not be, compromised or violated. The word sacrosanct preserves much of its Latin meaning. Sacro means by a sacred right, and sanct means holy. Do you think this shifty individual was granted divine omnipotence by a sparkly touch from the wand of the Archangel born who chose him? I think that Windsor was talking twaddle. Chief constables are not independent. Power, limited only by existing law, lies with the government, and for the police, with the Home Secretary in particular. I'll end with an example of such power being exercised. It is taken from my YouTube video called Sussex Police at Rock Bottom Official. In November 2007, the Association of Police Authorities published a short document called Accountability in Action, Police Authorities Adding Value. The word accountability refers to the Police Act of 1996, which requires every police authority to maintain an efficient and effective police force for its area. The inaction phrase reflects the nature of the APA document, which comprises case studies of the work of 16 police authorities. The subtitle refers to the Independent Review of Policing, published on the 7th of February 2008, for which Flanagan, the Chief Inspector of Constabulary, was responsible. Generally, the individual case studies are upbeat. That for Sussex, however, gives a description of the level from which the Sussex Police Authority was supposed to have raised the force, without acknowledging that the authority itself bore responsibility for the very low level that the APA describes. The Sussex case study comes under a subheading, Accounting to Communities, and is supposed to illustrate the statement which follows. It is important that local people know that their interests will be protected and looked after when things go wrong, and that someone is there to ensure that their police service will serve their needs. The first case study from Sussex Police Authority demonstrates how the authority made a difference and ensured that the police force was held to account on behalf of local people. The study does not demonstrate anything at all. It merely asserts it. It starts with the shooting of James Ashley. In the early hours of the morning of the 15th of January 1998, police officers broke into a multi-occupied house in Hastings and shot dead an unarmed man as he got out of bed to see what was happening. The APA says, what happened that night, and the way in which events subsequently unfolded, led directly to the police authority parting company with the then Chief Constable and his deputy. This might well lead anyone ignorant of the facts to suppose that Sussex Police Authority intervened in a responsible and timely manner to ensure that the police force was held to account on behalf of local people. How direct the authority's intervention may have been, you may deduce from a list which appeared as an insert in a BBC online article. The shooting happened in January 1998. 4 months later, 4 officers were suspended. 13 months after the shooting, a Deputy Chief Constable was suspended, and a month after that, the Chief Constable was suspended. 38 months after the shooting, the Chief Constable was reinstated. 3 months after that, the Home Secretary intervened and suggested that the Chief Constable should be sacked. The following day, Mr. Whitehouse said that he intended to resign. The APA case study includes further critical comments. The conduct of the operation was subsequently found to have been grossly deficient. In particular, the intelligence on which the operation was based was found to be faulty, and the tactics used were inappropriate. And all this took place against the background of Sussex Police being assessed by Her Majesty's Inspectorate of Constabulary as one of the worst performing police forces in the country. And the reputation of the force with partners and the public was at rock bottom.